Good evening, everybody. It's Thursday, March 10th, and we are live, waiting for those transcripts to update for everyone that's been waiting. So much going on in the world, and some people really need those refunds, that's for sure. Just a reminder on some of the ground rules for the live stream. Rule number 1, everyone needs to be nice to each other in the chat. Show respect to everybody in the chat. All of our friends deserve respect here. Belligerents will get you banned. Please remember that my stream software shows me chats with a 2-minute delay, approximately 2 minutes, so oftentimes I'm not seeing things until a few minutes after you've sent it. And I might not get to all the comments or questions, so please don't be upset with me if I can't get to them all. If you don't have an 846 code on your transcript, or you don't have access to your transcript, it is a little harder for me to give you exact, accurate information. And just remember that the main goal of these streams is to help provide answers to everybody. And I pretty much try to answer some of the questions that the IRS just simply won't or cannot answer for you. And make sure everyone says hi to Caitlin in the chat. She'll be in here monitoring the comments, helping me out here. And please, guys, give me a heads up. Let me know if the audio is okay. Make sure you can hear me properly. So let me go back here. All right, we can leave the ground rules here for a second. So I hope everyone's doing okay. It's been a hot minute. Big Ants, Christian Nation, Joseph, Latrice, how are you all doing this week? So, a bit of news that did drop. It dropped today, actually. I haven't done any updates because there really hadn't been any updates to give on the tax front. But today there was a little bit of news from the IRS, so why don't we share that? And this might be good news for a lot of the people that have been waiting. The IRS does plan to hire 10,000 workers to relieve the massive backlog of returns. They basically said that this has been the most challenging tax season in history, which they also said last year. But if you were to look at the backlog they have 20 million pieces of correspondence, which is 15 times larger than the normal tax filing season. Last year, they actually had a backlog. The backlog last year was about 16 million at its highest point, so it's about 4 million more than last year's highest point of backlog. So, really makes it all come into a clearer picture as to why people have been waiting so long. But hopefully they can get these people hired as soon as possible. Hopefully they pay people a decent wage and people are eager to step in and help out. And maybe they can help clear a lot of this mess up. So, let me go through the chat here. Hey, Joseph. Big Ant says they had to go to their local IRS office and identify themselves. So hopefully they do get an update tomorrow. Hopefully they went before the cutoff date for this week so that they would see an update. If they didn't get up there before the cutoff, in other words, before the system finalizes all the week's numbers and stuff, if it wasn't before the cutoff, then it would be the following week. Joseph, file the 21st. Has been 40 days with no answers. And I'm sure, Joseph, you've gotten the whole 10-week runaround from the IRS. Just the typical backlog. I think I saw another comment where you said you had actually talked to them and they said nothing was wrong, so that's good news. Latrice had hers adjusted and they fixed it last Friday. Caitlin giving everyone the shout out. Victoria says, file 22, transcripts NA, and no where's my refund status. Spoke to the IRS. They said 10 weeks, and I asked about the 10,000 workers. They said it could take a year to do. They have to go through a background check. I can guarantee you it's not going to take a year for it. Although the IRS is slow, and well known for being slow. But they're also notorious for giving extended dates as far as estimates to people. It won't be a year. Maybe 3 months, probably, but it won't be a year for people to get hired. Mrs. Marie is hoping and praying for an update. Mrs. Marie is in quite a quandary with some of her filing stuff. So hopefully she gets the update soon and it gets sorted out. Jean or Jean Reed, I have a 570 code data for 228, but I have had the code since 212. Do you think it will resolve itself? If they have not sent you any notifications, it's eventually going to resolve itself. It really depends on what the issue is. But if they haven't contacted you and asked you for any more information from your end, then it should be something they can resolve themselves. It's just a matter of how long it takes someone to get to that review to release the hold, basically. Mine was adjusted today. Hopefully get the update tomorrow. Well, if it was adjusted today, I wouldn't be too optimistic about a tomorrow update. I mean, it could potentially happen, but typically if the adjustment happens after Wednesday, you wouldn't see the update until the following week. So, probably not going to be tomorrow, honestly. Probably be next Friday, but you never know. It could happen. Crazier things have been seen, I guess. Prinzel. Transcript went from NA to 766. Okay, the 766 would be your child tax credit. The 971,571 negative amount on the front page and less than what I was expecting. So the number you'd be looking at is where it says account balance. That's the number you're looking for the refund on. The 766 negative amount is just the amount of your child tax credit. That is not your refund amount. The refund amount is where it says account balance. And you could get an update tonight. It just depends on what the 570 hold code is for. So it depends on what they're holding it for and if they can get to it in time to release it. And as I have filed my taxes on February 15th by paper. How long do you think the refund will take to direct deposit? Well, by paper, it's a minimum of 10 weeks. So counting up from February 15th. You'll be looking sometime one of the first or second week in April. Realistically would be when you'd be expecting it, because paper always takes longer for them to process than the electronic. And even as it stands with the electronic processing, it's taken them quite a while. I'm also going to be putting this message. I'm going to put this message up here for everyone to look at as they please. This is the common reasons that returns can get flagged for a review. So maybe you've been waiting a while. Maybe you see that 570 code. Um, so maybe you're not too sure why it's been held. But these are some of the reasons. Itemized deductions. Maybe you claimed a new dependent this year, and they need to review that child tax credit or the recovery rebate credit because you claimed the missed stimulus payments. The child tax credit you reported on your tax return does not match what they have on file. Maybe you claimed the look-back credit, but your income actually exceeds the earned income credit threshold. The W-2 wages, 1099 forms, or other income that you reported to the IRS is incomplete or doesn't match what they reported. What was reported by the other party, in other words, your employer or whoever paid you for the year. And you could need to do identity verification. Or perhaps you have some offsets from debts that you owe to other agencies. All of those could cause a delay in the processing of your return. It's certainly not a complete list, and it's not the only things that hold your return, and it's not always guaranteed that one of these might, but certainly if you have multiple of these things, it almost certainly will hold your return back. Albert verified the identity online on the 7th of March. So Albert, you would see an update either this week or next week, likely. Usually when you verify your identity, you'll see the update within 2 weeks. How far up? Did I already go by it, or? Sorry, everyone. Caitlin's helping me with the comments. Natasha filed the 24th, accepted the 25th. No update, still being processed. Ending on transcripts, and as of date of December 2021. Called the error department. They said to try back in 10 weeks, which is April 5th. Well, Natasha Jones, hopefully you see an update within the next week or two. Hopefully at least this week you get access to your transcripts and that NA goes away. We'll know for sure tomorrow morning. Bright and early. 3 a.m. around 3 a.m. those transcripts will start updating, and they'll update throughout the morning. If you don't see the update early, don't panic too much. You can still see them around all the way up, through the later part of the morning. And I have personally seen my transcript update as late as like 3:30 in the afternoon. So, but most of the updates are done between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. And it's not like Where's My Refund, where there's just one update and that's it. With the transcripts, it's a continuous update that keeps occurring for different people. Javon Miller, I filed the 24th of January, NA on transcript, and still processing message. I did notice a 152 topic code, but no update. Hoping a date falls out of the sky. Well, we'll come on the transcript first. And let me put the friendly reminder on. Let's go to my slides here, my trusty slides. The tax topic 152. Just remember, everybody, the tax topic 152 is a generic message. If your 1040 form, which is your tax return, has a tax refund being requested on it, so at the end of your 1040 form, you're requesting a tax refund, you're going to get that tax topic 152 message on Where's My Refund at some point, either through the whole process or at some point it may come and disappear, but all it means is that you're getting a refund or you've requested a refund on your return. Having it or not having it is neither good nor bad on the Where's My Refund status. Mermaid Girl, I have a 570 code with a date of 3/14/2022. Okay, the 570 code, you have a freeze on your refund. Your refund is being reviewed for some reason. Unfortunately, the transcripts do not tell you why it is being reviewed, but it is being reviewed for a reason. And the 3/14 date is the deadline that the system has set itself to resolve that review. If that review is not complete by that date, they can always push it further back. It really depends on how long it is sitting in that review department and what it's being reviewed for. Destiny B wants to know if it's 10 weeks from the date I was accepted or from the February 15th date. As a general rule, you want to count your wait period from the February 15th path lifting date. Because in many cases, they're going to tell you that your return wasn't even accepted until after that date. Even though you know it was accepted, like say in January, the IRS isn't counting until the path lifts. Observe self. Ooh, do I have some news for you? The folks who are still NA since early January, it's a system error, not our error, but an actual tech issue. Yeah, we've discussed this. There is a backlog, which is causing a huge backup in the system. It is funny though. If you call the IRS, they're going to give you a bunch of different answers. you talk to everyone, they're going to give you a different answer. But I mean, the general true information that we know for a fact is that there's a huge backlog, which we covered. There is a backlog of 20 million returns. 20 million pieces of information that the IRS needs to sort out, contact people for, resolve. That is up 4 million from last year. 4 million last year the backlog was 16 million. This year the backlog at its highest point so far is 20 million. Jesse and Jessica, my federal is processing because my tax lady forgot to add my 1090. She submitted on Monday. How long do I have to wait now? Oh, man. Wow. She submitted it without it being done yet? Did they ask for it? If they didn't ask for it, she might have screwed up on you. Because, well, obviously she submitted it without it. She already screwed up. But if she submitted and they didn't ask for it, you're going to have to wait even longer now, because that would have been something that they could have sorted out probably with whoever you got the form from originally, whether it was an employer or a self-employed, whatever. 1099? Is it a 1099? If, yeah. Oh. How long will you have to wait? A while. Yeah, whenever they get new info, whenever they haven't finished processing your return, if they haven't asked for that information and it's just sent to them, it can cause an even longer wait. Because then what happens is they get this information for this taxpayer, that's tied to this social security number for this tax return, and then it gets pushed to the back of the line. Oh, something new was added, so we have to push it to the back of the line. They're always gonna sort and process the simplest returns first, and then when they get new information on other returns, they're gonna push those to the back of the line. Observe self. Did you? You're telling you applied for a job at the IRS? You're going to be one of those 10,000 workers? Bethany Firestone, can you please answer my question? All right, well, first, let's put up this friendly reminder to everybody. I'm on a delay. I sometimes don't see all the questions coming in, and I have to go back. Also, regular viewers of mine will tell you I frequently go back and forth between current and older questions, so I don't get too far behind. I am not seeing a question in my chat from that. So if you can type in your question again, I can take a look. But I'm not seeing a question in my chat from you, so moving along. Principal Potts, if they lowered your refund, that would be a cause for the 570. Absolutely. If there was something that they need to solve or adjust, that they would certainly review it and adjust it, and that would be the trigger for that 570 code. Absolutely. Yvette, do you think they're just using identity verification for a stall because everyone is saying they are never seeing anything? I suppose it's possible. I mean, they could be just in the backlog and people want answers and they know people want answers, so they could just say, oh, you need identity verification. Except the only problem with that is, with many of the people I've talked to over the past couple weeks, especially if you've been following the streams, a lot of the people that they've been telling that they need to do identity verification, they do them. They do that identity verification, and then within a week, they're seeing that 571 release code and an 846 refund issue code on their transcript. All right, so here's Bethany's question. Filed February 4th and getting earned income credit. Where's my refund? Says still processing and a refund date will be available soon. What does that mean? Well, that means that you're still in process. And the messages you get on Where's My Refund are generic. They're generic messages, and they go in stages. So when you get the Where's My Refund, you'll get a bar. It says your return is on file. And then after a certain amount of time, say like that your return's been in the system, say it's about 8 days or so, the message will change and it will say it is processing. And then after a few more days of it still being in the system without being complete, the Where's My Refund status will say it's still processing. And then eventually it will change to there's a delay if it gets that far. So all these messages are generic pre-programmed messages in the IRS system. And all they tell you is basically what you already know, that you're like waiting. And they're pre-programmed to trigger that message after a certain amount of time of your return being in the system. Other than that, they don't really tell you much. As I always say to everybody, the best way to get any information is to see if you have your transcripts for the tax year you're looking for available. So this year you'd be looking for 2021. And that gives you a whole lot more information than the Where's My Refund will, because you could be stuck on one of these messages from Where's My Refund for weeks and not ever see an update, not know why. But then you could log into your transcript and you could see a 570 code, and then you at least know that you've been waiting because there's a review going on your return, or a freeze on your refund for some reason. As I said, the 570 code, unfortunately on the transcripts, can't tell you why it's frozen because they don't put that reason there. Only that it is frozen for some reason. And if you wanted an exact reason, you would call the IRS. I do have some, once again, back to my slides, my trusty slides. The reviews, why they get held for review, and why they get held for review. Maybe you fall into one of these categories, and it might answer your question as to why you've been waiting so long. Like you might say, "Oh, I fall into one of those categories. That's probably why I'm waiting." And then how long the review takes really matters on. It really depends on like what it's being held for. The IRS is always going to prioritize the easy fixes first when they're reviewing things. So if the refund is on hold for something simple that they can correct on their end, it can usually be resolved on their end within 2 to 3 weeks, but serious issues can take much longer. Identity verification can be resolved within a week or two. Sometimes you have to call them to find that out. So if you've been waiting for a few weeks, you might want to call them just to make sure you don't need to verify your identity. I was going to say identify your verify. Learn how to talk, Dana. Learn how to talk. Adjustments to the recovery rebate that you claimed or child tax payments that were claimed incorrectly can be made automatically by the IRS and are usually solved within a few weeks. Refund freezes for look-back credits and recovery rebate credits that can't be resolved automatically will require further information from the tax filer and do tend to get pushed back to the end of the line. Wage and income verification, if it's under review for those forms, it takes a lot longer because then they have to verify what you reported against what your employer reported. And unfortunately, employers have until April 15th to file all their tax stuff. And if people do itemized deductions, that always gets pushed to the back too. So those usually take, at least double the time of a normal tax return if you itemize your deductions as opposed to taking the standard deduction. Jim Coleman, 570 for 37. Still no update. 971 314 is the same. What guidance could you give? Okay, well, the deadline was for 37. That's a this week date, Jim. So if they met their deadline this week, you would see an update tomorrow. So we can hope for that. So if you don't see an update tomorrow, I don't know if you've called the IRS yet, but if you, check throughout the day tomorrow on your transcript and that 570 hasn't been resolved with 571 and an 846, then you can give them a call and find out why. But the 370 is this week, which means, the deadline for you to have seen an update last week would have had to been prior to last Wednesday. So what's that? The 2nd. So if your date is anytime after the 2nd, you wouldn't have seen an update yet until this Friday would be the earliest. So tomorrow would be the earliest you'll see an update. And if you don't, call them and find out why. Maybe they can tell you. Well, they should be able to tell you at this point because it is a hold for some reason. So they should be able to tell you what it's there for. If the as of date doesn't change, doesn't mean much. It just means they're still working on it. It's one of those fluid dates. It's an internal date that the system automatically sets, and so unfortunately, you really can't read too much into those dates. I mean, you can gather some rough estimates on some things by them, but you really can't. You can't hold those dates to be like the word of God because everything's fluid with the IRS. But you can get a rough idea. So if it hasn't changed, like if you've passed that date and it hasn't changed, then hopefully you would see an update within a couple weeks because whoever was reviewing it didn't notify the system to adjust the date, which means they're probably on the final stage of doing whatever they need to do on that review. Alex, still waiting. That's why we're here. A lot of people still waiting. Everyone's refund's going to be getting chewed up by all the gas prices anyways. Crystal, I received a letter from the IRS after filing the 31st. So I updated my info on Tuesday. So how long do I have to wait for processing to finish? They said 9 weeks. Do you think it will be sooner? Was it for identity verification or whatever? If it was for identity verification, it'll be much, much sooner. It won't be that long. Like, if not this week, next week. If it was for... what else could you have updated? I guess that's probably what it was for, right? Identity verification? So you should be good. James spoke with someone today. An error that couldn't be explained occurred and was told 8 weeks. That is, interesting. I called the agent, said everything was good and had a date, but didn't tell me it was going to transfer, and then got the call, got disconnected. If they told you that everything was good and they had a refund date, if they said they already had a refund date, then you would see an update on your transcript today. So if they told you that everything was good and there was actually a refund date, if they saw a refund date, then that would mean that would be reflected in your transcript, and you would see, check your transcript tomorrow, and you would see a March 16th deposit date. If that's what they were meant. You know, if that's what they were intending, they said as far as seeing a date. Crystal, they wanted to verify your identification. Okay, so yeah, it's not going to be that full time. It will be this week or next week. Would you say Tuesday? If you did it Tuesday, hopefully it's all on my phone. Hopefully you beat the cutoff and you'll see the update tomorrow, not tomorrow morning. But if not tomorrow, it'll be next week. Just a reminder, everyone that does receive an 846 refund issue code tomorrow, you're going to have a Wednesday, March 16th date. March 16th? Am I? Yeah, it's March 16th. Wednesday, March 16th. That will be the date. And I just messed up my chat. I just accidentally scrolled. Okay. Oh, no problem. I hope I didn't inspire you to take a job at the IRS. Because if you hate it, you'll be hating me. I suppose if we all wanted to make changes in there, we could all get jobs there, and we could be the ones to make the changes. Alex, still very frustrated. I feel you. I think there's quite a few people here that feel you. Joseph, I think they're just telling everyone all these different things every time someone different calls. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they have a standard script that they tell everybody, and then, you know, different reps will veer in different ways. But you have to understand, there's only so much the reps actually know anyway. There's only so much they can see. I mean, they don't have full access to all the information that they have on file for you. How do I check transcripts? All right, let me share my screen. Where am I here? Where's my screen to share? All right, so what you would do is you can Google get transcript, and the first thing that should pop up is the irs.gov get transcript page. You can click that, and then you'll scroll down where it says request online, and you will get transcript online. And then from here, you need to have either an existing IRS username, which is what I use, or an ID.me account. And if you don't have one, you can create one. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row when you do this. You create the ID.me account, and it will take you through some identity verification things. So you need to make sure you're taking your time and answering everything appropriately and accurately, because you don't want to get locked out of the system. And once you have accessed that or created that username for the real ID, or maybe you already have had a IRS username for however long, then you can log into the system. They'll send you a code. I'm going to log into my account real quick and kind of show you what the page looks like when you get into the system. I don't think there's any personal information on the... I'm just going to check my page here before I share it. Okay, let's go. Screen share. You'll get into, once you've put in your password and whatever, and you've verified the phone number, because they'll send you a code. I always just select a reason like federal tax or income verification. You don't have to... You can pick anyone you really want. As for the reason you need a transcript, You don't need a customer file number. You can just select your thing and go to go. And then you'll see the transcripts populated. You'll see 4 boxes. You'll see a return transcript, which is like a copy of everything. So a digitized copy of everything you put on your 1040 form. A record of account transcript, an account transcript, and then a wage and income transcript. What you're going to want to click on would be the account transcript. That's what you go to. I'm not going to click on mine because that's where all my personal information would be. So that's where I'm going to stop. But when we talk about checking transcripts, you're looking for the account transcript. Hope that answers the question. Going back through the comments here. Derek Jones. I was told to verify my identity and did that. Now, a couple of days later, I have another IRS letter that is coming in the mail. What do you think that could be? That could have been the mail. That could have been the letter that was generated for the identity verification. So, it could have been... They always schedule letters out ahead of time. They don't necessarily... If your return was flagged for identity verification, the 570 appears, and then the letter would get scheduled for like a couple weeks out. They wouldn't necessarily send it out right away. So that could just be the delay from the time it hit your account to the time they actually mailed it. So that letter could be for the identity verification. Josh K got the transcript update last Friday with the 570 code. Do you think I'll get an update? It depends on what it was for. Did you notice if any adjustments were made to your transcript, like any amounts were changed? If they were changed from what they had previously been, then maybe you would see an update, because that would mean they already did the adjustments. If they didn't do any adjustments and you didn't do anything on your end, like verify your identity, you might be waiting a couple weeks. Yvette, thank you and your wife for comforting us every Thursday. Thank you. You're welcome. Caitlin gave the thumbs up. James wants to know why their transcripts for 2021 are NA. That would be because there is a massive, massive backlog of returns right now. So a lot of the returns are kind of just getting lost in the shuffle. They'll eventually get to them all. It's just going to take time. What I've been trying to tell people for years is that just because you submitted your return and just because the IRS accepted the return does not mean processing has already started on the return. You submit your return, it gets transmitted to the IRS, they accept it, and then it just sits there in like a digital pile until the system kicks it over for processing. And sometimes returns can get stuck in that little limbo stage for a while. Arthur, I have a code 2022-0705 with a date of 3/7/22. Tax code 152570971. What's going on? Well, the 570 and the 971, that would be the freeze code. The 971 would be the letter associated with the freeze code. You're in a waiting period. Hopefully, you can sort that out soon. You can always give them a call, too. If you don't see an update tomorrow on the transcript, you can give them an update, see why the 570 code was there. Maybe you can get ahead of that letter. Instead of waiting a couple weeks for the letter, you can get ahead of it. If it's something like identity verification, if you did it this week, you could see an update next week. So, And my transcript updated at 826,971 last week. My refund amount changed, so hopefully an update tomorrow. Hopefully there is an update for you tomorrow if they already adjusted it. Bethany Firestone. Apparently, every time I go on to the there must be the real ID, ID.me or whatever it is. Can't verify your identity. If you can't start that account, you won't be able to see the transcript, unfortunately. So you'll be relying on Where's My Refund. So if all the information given to you by the rep was true and there was an update, they saw a refund date, you could look for a Where's My Refund update on Saturday morning. That would be when you see the Where's My Refund update wouldn't occur until Saturday morning. That's when the refund update that's when the Where's My Refund update occurs. So for you people that don't have access to transcripts and you're only relying on Where's My Refund, you're only gonna the earliest you're gonna see Where's My Refund update will be on Saturday. Rachel, cycle code ending 0905. That's the 9th week, 5th day of the cycle. March 21st processing date. That's what it means. You're in the 9th week of the 5th cycle. Can't really deduce too much from... the only thing the cycle code is going to tell you is that you're only ever going to update on a Friday. That's what that means. So when you check your transcripts, it's pointless checking on any day but Friday. And when you check Where's My Refund, it is pointless checking any day but Saturday on people with 05s. If it was an 01 or 04, you could update potentially any day during the week. But on the 05s, your transcripts will only ever update on a Friday. And Where's My Refund will only ever update on a Saturday. .570 code for 228, and you still haven't seen the update, Shamika. It depends on what that 570 freeze is for. Just remember, if you haven't already taken a look at this list, see if any of these reasons for a review or a freeze would apply to you. I've put the slide up a couple times tonight. I think it's time for a music change. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but I've been hearing it in my earphone all day, all night. I'm not going to go with Feeding the Ducks. Tommy hopes tonight is my night. I hope so too. Mrs. Marie, when I first log into IR, there is an account status which says your 2021 return is not processed. Will that be updated tomorrow as well? No, that wouldn't update tomorrow. That if it was going to update, Mrs. Marie, it would update on Saturday. That would be the day you'd see the change on it. The only updates you'd see tomorrow, if there was any updates for you, the only updates you would see would be on the transcript. Observe self, I'm assuming you're talking about me. And that's because I've been covering this for years. Yvette, It's so backed up. I still have no transcript for 2021. I had a baby in 2021, so that's why I'm getting pulled. I'm guessing that's why I'm getting pulled back. 100%. 100%. That's why you're being held back. I mean, the backlog is probably, it is as it is anyway, but anyone with a new dependent, because what you're trying to claim for child tax credit isn't going to match what they would have on file that you should be claiming for child tax credit, it's automatically getting kicked over for review. So anyone with a new dependent trying to, get some of that child tax credit because you have the new dependent, obviously, those are getting automatically reviewed. Latrice, making sure everyone likes the video, please. Caitlin, do we have a count?
Yes, 24, but 60 are watching. So
we have 24 likes and 60 people watching. Really? Are we playing this game tonight, everybody? 24 likes with 60 people watching. Tommy McGraw wants me to play some Conway Twitty, which I don't know if anyone saw my post last week, but I had my live stream pulled because of copyrighted music. So we're going back to the generic music tonight. Gas is so high in California. Oh boy, is it high everywhere. But West Coast, it's always higher in West Coast, The prices in the West Coast are ridiculous. But over here on the East Coast, it's getting kind of ridiculous too. I'll tell you, so most of my income comes from transportation, so I rely on gas a lot. And let's see, what was it, a week and a half ago? It started, it's been climbing. Listen, everyone, the reason the gas keeps on climbing too, it's all a lie. Everything they're telling you is a lie. There's nothing to do with Russia or what they're doing. We get like 3% of our gas from Russia. It's in part inflation. It's in part the fact that we've been, over the past 2 years, we've been suffering the greatest gasoline leak in United States history that no one seems to be reporting on. Dumping millions and millions of gasoline in North Carolina that has just kind of flown under the radar. So that was where the start of the gas prices started creeping up the past couple of years. And then, But if you remember at the beginning of the pandemic, and gas prices were super low, I don't know if anyone caught when they were talking about bailing out the oil companies because it was a huge problem that prices were so low. There's no motivation for anyone in power to stabilize the gas prices at a lower rate for everybody, because when gas is high and oil is high, the oil companies make money, and they line the pockets of all the politicians in power. So when gas is low, there's no money to be made. And Caitlin's getting mad at me, so I'll get off my soapbox about the oil prices.
A question from Cody Cat.
Okay, she wants me to answer more questions, so I'm going to answer questions. if I can find the chat. Cody Cat. Is there a number to talk to a live person at the IRS? Mine says sorry, they're processing it, and has been saying that since February 10th. And I just have the 152 code. Filed for the stimulus and CTC. Any advice, please and thank you. Okay, so you can call the IRS. There's the generic IRS numbers you can call. Let me pull out some numbers for you. There's the standard... I'll share my screen. I'm going to give you the same number that everyone would say to call, but it might not do you any good because there's always waits. But the 800-829-1040 line, that's the automated line, and you can go through and talk to the option that says talk to a representative. They're not going to be able to tell you much, but I can tell you why you've been waiting so long and why you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, and that's because you filed for the stimulus, which is the recovery rebate credit. And anyone that claims the recovery rebate credit, those will get reviewed. So that is why you've been waiting. And why it's being reviewed could be a couple different reasons. Maybe you had a new dependent born, or maybe you just were supposed to receive it and you didn't. Maybe they sent a check and you never received the check. Multiple reasons people file that recovery rebate, but the IRS has to sort that out, figure out why you're claiming that rebate, that stimulus payment. And wants to know, when is Where My Refund going to update? It will update for anyone who has an 846 update on their transcript tomorrow, or the hypothetical 846 if you can't see your transcript. But if you were able to see your transcript and it had an 846, you would see it on Saturday. The update would happen on Saturday. Cody Cat did my like. I appreciate it. Javon Kelly wants to know if it's ever possible you'll get your refund before it updates on your transcript. Absolutely not. The reason being that this won't happen is that the transcript is like real-time information on what has been done to your account. So the transcript system updates with what was ever done the previous day. So like when your transcript updates on Friday, that was everything that was done throughout the week gets updated into the system on Thursday. You'll see it reflected on your transcript on Friday. And you wouldn't get your refund before that refund issue code hits the transcript. You can get your refund without Where's My Refund updating. That has certainly happened plenty of times. But there is not a single provable, demonstrative, evidence-based case of someone getting their refund without it appearing on their transcript. Because it just doesn't happen. Because the transcript, as I said, that's the official record of your account. So in order for you to get a refund, it would have to be on your transcript. So you might hear someone say, well, mine never updated, because maybe they checked theirs on a Wednesday, right? And then they checked their transcript on Wednesday and they never checked it again until they didn't bother checking it again. And then the following Wednesday, they get a refund in their account, and they think, well, mine updated. I got my refund, and I never got a transcript update. But that's because they didn't check it when it would have updated with the refund date. For the Friday would have updated for that Wednesday, but they checked before that refund date dropped. Meaning they did not get the refund before their transcript updated, because it updated the previous Friday. They just didn't check it. So anyone that would tell you that the transcript you can get a refund, I get agitated at people that say like, "Oh, I got my refund and my transcript didn't update," because they didn't. That's just, they're either lying or they're misunderstanding about when they should be checking their transcript. Ends Ranch. File February 1st, accepted February 2nd. After a couple days, no bars. Okay, I'm going to put up my slides here for the no bars. Let me reset here. So you probably saw the tax topic 152, as you said. That's just a generic message. If you have a refund requested on your 1040 form, that tax topic 152 is going to show up there. That's just an automatic generic message. When your bars go away and it says it's processing, it's because your return has been in the system a certain amount of time. They typically go away after about 8 days. And that message automatically is programmed in the system to appear when your return has not finished processing yet, when it's been sitting in the system unprocessed. A few days later, if it is still unprocessed, you would get a message that says it's still processing or still being processed. Once again, this is a generic message. And then eventually, after so long of it being unprocessed in the system, you would eventually get where, sorry, there's a delay. And that's also a pre-programmed message to occur after a certain amount of time. All of these messages can't really tell you anything about the status other than what you already know, which is that you have been waiting. So the only way for you to know for sure why you would be waiting so long would be to check your transcript, if you have access to your transcripts, and see if you have a hold code, and then try to deduce from there based on your filing situation. Amanda Strange, we are tired. Tired of waiting for your refund, I am assuming. And I totally understand that. James Haney, why are my transcripts producing an A for 2021? That is because your return is still not been processed yet. It's still just stuck in the backlog. 20 million returns. 20 million articles of communication between the IRS and taxpayers is the backlog that they're trying to work through right now. 20 million. Yeah, I probably know more than some of the IRS folks. I've probably been covering it longer than a lot of them, so. But I also have talked to a very large amount of knowledgeable IRS people on the subject, too. People that would know. Ashley! What's up, Ashley? Saw your comment today. We're doing well. I have a code 826 and 971 that updated last week finally. We owed, this is what I gathered, but do you think a 1 to 2 week wait? Yeah, if you had the code last week and it was adjusted, I would think you would see an update this week. If not this week, next week, but hopefully this week. If that was the only thing wrong, hopefully you would see the update this week. Just a reminder, since Observe Self is reminding me, make sure everyone, close out of that chat for a second. Smash that like button for me. Where we at, Caitlin? 46 likes. We got 64 people watching. 64 people watching. Mrs. Marie thinks there's a website I can buy rights to beats from people. I actually have my own album. I mean, I could probably put my own beats on here. I have an album I made 2007. Yeah, 2007. Yeah, I got about 8 songs on it. I could probably make it and find some way to upload it to this and use those beats. Yeah, featuring the hit song Robo Street Cop that Caitlin named after hearing it. Which is probably obviously the worst of all the songs on there. That was like a joke song, but there were some serious songs on there. Yes, Mrs. Marie. The spouse's transcript will update a week or two before the other spouse's. So, the spouse who is the first taxpayer on the return is the one who would update first. And then the other spouse would lag behind. So the most current information is always going to be on the main tax filer's Social Security, whatever. So like in the case of me and Caitlin, my name is always on the return first. Not because there's any difference in our value as partners. I would argue that Caitlin is more important than me, but my name is always first on the return. So my transcript would always update before hers does.
That's true.
No ID has a 970 slated for 321. Hopefully update next week. Well, don't give up hope on this week. Check tomorrow. Biggie Les got a letter for 4464C with a 60-day hold. Oh man. Those 60-day holders don't always take 60 days, honestly. It really just takes as long as it takes for them to verify your wage and income information. So if they can verify it with your employer fairly quickly, then that's great news. However, if the employer takes the full length of time till April 15th, yeah, you'll be waiting for a while. That's the tax laws for you. Prince Pots, no problem. You are welcome. Anya Sanchez got an answer today. Finally, after 21 days, found out that a refund is being manually processed because of an error. Well, hopefully that error gets fixed quickly. Beautiful and all. All I got was a credit in my account, but that's it. You just see the credits to the account, no hold codes. Then you would just be waiting for an update. I mean, maybe you see an update tomorrow. Tomorrow is a transcript update. Next big transcript update is Friday. Looking for that 846. Yvette, when they tell you 9 weeks, what's the earliest you have heard someone receive their refund? Well, there was people 3 weeks ago that were told 9 weeks that got their refunds yesterday. So 3 weeks. There was a lot of people about 3 weeks ago that had to verify their identity, and the reps told them it would be about 9 to 10 weeks. And then last week they got the update for the refunds, and then yesterday they actually got the refund. So 2 to 3 weeks. It depends on what it's for, honestly. Oscar, are they really reducing people's refunds? Yes, they are reducing some refunds. Maybe somebody erroneously claimed a credit, like, they claimed the stimulus they already received. Or they have a new dependent, and IRS just automatically eliminated that dependent. They're doing that. So in which case, if it's something that you are entitled to, then after they reduce it and pay you whatever they pay you, then you can file an amended return to claim the rest of it back. But in some cases, I've seen a handful of people say, like, oh, I was supposed to get, $8,000. I claimed $1,400 I accidentally claimed $1,400 for a missed stimulus when because they didn't understand the question on the software. The IRS caught the error. They reduced the amount by that $1,400. So in fact, they got the refund they were supposed to get, even though it was reduced. So yes, they were reducing the refunds, but for different reasons. Jennifer has a 971-570. Notice issued. And the refund freeze code 768 would be earned income credit 766 times 2. One is the child tax credit, when the other one is the advanced child tax payments that were made last year. Or perhaps the stimulus. The third stimulus payment. It's either or. I'm not looking at transcripts, so I can't say for sure. But based on the codes, that's what they are. So the 570, probably looking at one of those credits that you claimed. It's been long enough, you can certainly call the IRS and find out for sure why it's being under review. Because if it's for something like identity verification, you want to get that done as soon as possible. Because that is a quick one to resolve. I gotta remember not to select this song. I hate that song. Okay. Jim Bailey. My transcripts updated last week, showing me a 971 and 570, both of the same date. That's just the notice issued and the freeze. The two associated together. but you saw a lower amount that was originally on the 1040. It says a computed amount of 15,150. Where are you seeing that amount? I can't really comment on it until I understand like where that amount you're looking at. Is it at the account balance? That would be the refund amount. If it's under the line 150, that is the amount of tax due, which I can't imagine would be that much. Cody Cat wants to hear a Robo Street Cop.
No.
Caitlin says you don't.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's funny. It's actually... I think it's funny.
I like it.
All I can say is drums, whistles, and dogs barking.
Oh, I forgot about the dogs. That makes it worse.
Actually, I've been waiting since February 5th, February 7th. I have a code 570 for child support. Any idea how long it could take to get that fixed? Oh, I wish I could give you a definitive answer on that. It really it depends on how long it takes them to verify it against the system. So, I mean, there's no way to know for sure because it's not a set amount of time. It could be different for everyone depending on how long the agency reporting the child support received takes to report that to the IRS. Slit Speed, checking in. How you doing? I feel ya, Oscar. High gas prices and reduced tax returns. Something's just messed up about it all, isn't it? No ID. Mine updated last week with the 970 code with a 3/21 date next to it. (970) or 971? 970. Just checking my little guide here. What's that? Yeah. Oh, you probably picked that up in the. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, no ID. Whatever the action is on that, it's, you know, the 3/21 is the deadline date. You know, it could be resolved before then. You can't read too much into those post-dated dates that the system generates. Joseph, I wish I could give you a definitive answer. I mean, you're just stuck in that backlog with a lot of people. If there's nothing wrong with your return, it's like a, you know, it's a guessing game. I mean, hopefully you'd see the update this weekend. Honestly, I mean, if they're telling you there's nothing wrong and you're just stuck in the backlog, then hopefully within, you know, this week or next week, you'd finally see an update. Because if there was, I can say if there was a reason for like a review for you, they would tell you. So at this point, because it's been so long. So at this point, if there was something wrong, they would tell you so that you would at least have an idea and you could resolve something if they needed something from you. So, you know, hopefully they can start clearing this backlog within the next week or two and you'll see an update. Jim Bailey's an 05, hopefully tonight. Fingers crossed. I got my fingers crossed. Not very well. I've got my fingers crossed. Caitlin's rolling her eyes at me. Daddy, would you like some sausage?
No.
5 bonus points to anyone that knows the movie. Did I just answer that? All right, my chat lady over here is she's behind me now. This is
Okay. Okay. Hold on.
I might have to hire a new chat person. Paulino wants to know when Mrs. Scott is coming on the live. I've been doing the same question, guys. Observe Self thinks I should paint a portrait of Mrs. Texas. Peaches still got the 570 code. Peaches, I'm praying for you. Okay? Let's hope tonight there's an update, and tomorrow you see that 571 with a 846 refund issue code. For March 16th. That is the date that everyone's looking for. If you get that 846, it'll be Wednesday, March 16th, which would be followed by a Saturday morning update with the same date. Jacqueline. Got my letter. Says I owe $230, but I have a refund. Say I disagree. Have till April 29th. But if I don't, 4 to 6 weeks. Where's my refund? Shows nothing. Well, if they say you owe $230 and you have a refund, it would generate. I don't know if you have access to your transcript, but it would generate a code on your transcript that would show like an offset. And then generally within that offset, once that offset hits the transcript, they take the money that is owed, and then it reduces your refund, of course, by that amount, and then it takes about 2 to 3 weeks after it's been applied. So not sure when the letter was dated for, because if you don't have access to your transcripts, there's no way to know for sure when the offset was applied. But generally, whatever the letter was dated for, if it was like sent like last week or whatever, so maybe like this week or next week you might see an update. Platinum Empath. See, it just seems to me the whole thing is messed up. 100%. I mean, 20 million returns. 20 million returns. They are backlogged. They're hiring 10,000 new employees, though, folks. That's good news. Hire those employees to get through that backlog. Little tip from Observe Self. You can go onto the site, go to Verify ID. It's on the IRS.gov website. And if they need you to verify your identity, you can do it right there. Take care of it there. If they don't need you to identify your identity, it wouldn't be an option for you, I believe. Ronnie, if you have a tax return on file, it says 846-1400 2021 instead of 2022. That is from your stimulus payment from last year. That's what the 846 is for. That was the $1,400 stimulus payment. That was the third payment we received. The stimulus payments that we received last year were a credit, an advanced credit of this year's taxes. That's why it shows on this year's, that's why it shows on your transcript for 2021. And it's dated for 2021 instead of 2022 because that's the year you actually received it. Malik forgot a W-2. Uh-oh. Hopefully it's not too much of a delay and they can match that wage and income information very close. Very quick. Jim Coleman wants to know if I've heard issues with tax software causing delays. Well, I can only speak to one thing I noticed that I caught that would cause a delay for people, and that would be the child tax credits and the way they're reported. That is because when and they're allowed to the tax companies are allowed to do this. This is annoying me. Okay. Tax companies are allowed to round up numbers. So, like, say you have a W-2 and you made, $28,132.56. It would round up to the nearest dollar because it's over 50 cents. So, tax companies round those numbers up. When your employer reports those W-2s, they round those numbers up so it matches up with what the IRS, each one would match up with what the IRS has on file because universally, if it's over 50 cents, those numbers are getting rounded up. And if it's under, they're getting rounded down. So the problem is in that with the child tax payments, they're getting divided a lot if someone's married, filing jointly, or in the case of some people that two people claim the same dependent, they're getting divided between those two people. So they're getting say they got $1,100 and say $1,125 for the year combined. The IRS is dividing that by two to each person for $656.50. $652.50. I'm using me and Caitlin as an example. So when I reported it on my software, I reported Caitlin $652.50 and me $652.50, which if you added those together, that would equal the $1,125 that we actually received. But because the IRS because the tax software rounds everything up, they rounded both of our amounts up to the nearest dollar. So instead of $11.25, it equaled $11.26. It was $1 over what we actually received, which you would think $1 no big deal, except the IRS has on file that we received $1,125 because that's what they actually sent the two of us. The IRS, in the case of the child tax credit, only cares about the total amount received for the two people, about the individual amounts they sent on the letter. They want to see on the return the exact amount combined. So if one person received $562.50 and the other person received $562.50, they want to see the $11.25 total on the 1040. But my tax software was putting $11.26, so I had to manually go in and adjust Caitlin's to $1 less and me to $1 even, whatever. So that the total that I was reporting equaled the $11.25. I don't know if this is making sense, but what I'm saying is if they round up the numbers and it doesn't match what the IRS has on file, it's causing a problem. And it's causing a delay because they're automatically holding anything that doesn't match what is in the system. So had I not changed me and Caitlin's, we would have been on a long delay waiting for an update because what we reported wouldn't have matched. Joel Durant answered my question a few minutes ago. Gets the 5 bonus points. Caitlin's shaking her head, wagging her finger at me. Lily was stuck on NA transcripts, tax topic 152, until last Friday. Finally have transcripts, but no 846 code. Lily, as long as you don't have a 570 freeze code or like a 426 audit code, you should be in good shape. Hopefully you'll see an update this week or next week. Maybe you'll see the Friday morning update on the transcripts. Observe self. NAs aren't not even in process, unfortunately. Yep, that's what I was saying. They were stuck in the backlog. Until the transcript is available, your return hasn't even hit the system. I actually have a video on this I made last year. It is still applicable today. Actually talked about this earlier in the stream too. Share my screen. NA on transcripts. I made this last year. Still true. If you have an NA, your return is not posted to the system for processing yet. So as I said earlier in the stream, just because you hit transmit on your returns in the end of January and TurboTax says they sent it and the IRS says they received it, it does not mean that your return is processing. It is sitting in a pile, a digital pile of nothingness until they move it into the pile to be processed. Rodney, where's my refund update tonight, or just transcripts? Just transcripts will update tonight. And then everyone that would get the transcript update with the 846 will see the Where's My Refund update on Saturday. Saturday morning, Where's My Refund update? Platinum Empath. Can't access transcripts. Had to do ID me and was denied. Womp womp. Well, you're reliant on Where's My Refund, the most ineffective tool the IRS has available to you. Unfortunately, although it has been pretty accurate when it has updated with refunds this year, so maybe you can see an update on Saturday. Jim Bailey sees an update, sees a code 150. That means your return is posted to the system for processing. And the 2388, that is the tax for the year. Don't panic. Don't panic that don't think that you owe them 2388. That is just the tax for the year. In most cases, you've already paid that through your withholding from your employer. Then they would deduct your credits. They would deduct the withholding you already paid, the credits, and that would result in your refund. You should see an account balance. Be a negative amount. That would be the refund that you would be receiving as it stands. Jacqueline, they took out. Just wondering on the end time. She did again. Overpayment on unemployment. Yeah. Okay, so Jacqueline, as long as they didn't take the whole thing, they just took whatever. You would see an update within a couple weeks. You wouldn't have to wait all the way till the end of January. I mean April. If they already took it and it's already resolved, you won't have to wait till the end of April. It would be much sooner than that. So hopefully within the next week or two. Katie got a letter saying under 60-day review. Do I have to wait all this time? It depends on what the review is for. We can pull up our slide here on the common reasons for review. Okay, and well, we can go through the slide here. I could talk about the ones that take longer versus the ones that don't. So let me eliminate myself from this picture here. Itemized deductions. Those can take a lot longer. New dependents being claimed. So these are the ones that are taking longer this year. New dependents being claimed, recovery rebate, child tax credit doesn't match what's on file. Those are going to take longer because they're pushing those towards the back of the line. So that could take the full 60 days. If, say, you're under review because you filed a new dependent, that could potentially take the full 60 days. or at least until the end of March, beginning of April. Look back credit. If your amount of income this year exceeded the thresholds, that could cause a problem. W-2 wages or 1099 forms. If what you reported on your income, your W-2s, or you're missing one, if that doesn't match what they have on file or is incomplete, that could take a while because they're going to contact the employer and ask them for information, and they have till the end of April or middle of April to do that. Identity verification could be quicker, but your letter didn't say you needed to verify your identity, so you don't have to worry about that. And offsets that are on file for debts owed to other agencies. Those are usually quicker too, because once those are taken care of, they just push your return through for final processing. So the big ones, mainly, if you have an income issue, that can take a while. Recovery rebate, child tax credit, or look back credit. Those ones can take a while too. And once again, that was for Katie. Andrew, still no updates. Still on the delay. Well, Andrew, hopefully, I'm assuming you don't have access to your transcripts, so you're going to have to just check on Saturday. Hopefully on Saturday you'd see an update. If you don't, try getting a hold of them and find out. You've been waiting a while, so try to find out what the holdup is. Maybe there's something you can do on your end to speed it up. Maybe they need something from you. Mia can see the advanced child tax payments from last year. That's all. So your return is still in process. Not processed yet. If they haven't even posted your numbers to the system yet, then that means that you're like they haven't even posted the return for processing yet. So you're stuck in that backlog, unfortunately. Mrs. Marie had an even number, but the total amount in your husband's and zero in yours. Will that matter? No, they go by the total amount for the two, so that wouldn't matter necessarily. It's the total amount for the two combined. If you were to look at the form on the 1040 where it asks what was received, it's line like, I don't know, 30, whatever. I don't know. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it asks for the total amount. It doesn't ask for each one individually, so it's only the total amount that matters. Mia called the representative that told you to verify your identity on Monday. Okay. Will you get the update on Saturday? You could. It would be either this... my estimate would be either this Saturday or next Saturday. But likely, I think you beat the cutoff. You should be there. It would hopefully get pushed through and you'd see the Where's My Refund update on Saturday. And you have access to your transcripts, so you'd know for sure if you looked, Mia, if you looked on your transcript tomorrow morning when the transcripts update, anywhere from 3 a.m. on throughout the rest of the morning into the early afternoon. If the verification was done in time, you would see the 846 refund issue code. Southern Tastes, how you doing? Been waiting since February 6th. You still have the NA. Unfortunately, a lot of people seeing that NA this week. Hopefully they get to push more through tomorrow for updates. After how many weeks is the transcript update ready? It varies. It depends on the backlog. It depends on how simple someone's return is. Joel laughed out loud when I sang the song. I unfortunately did not have my fingers tied to string with sausages tied to the other ends while playing my keyboard. But in my head I did. Dope Boy, I have a cycle code 05. Can you give me more information on that? Well, the only thing the cycle code will actually tell you that's usable for you is that your transcript will become available, will update on a Friday. In other words, doesn't mean it's going to update tomorrow, but a Friday. So every Friday when the transcripts updates, that's when you would see your transcript update. If you had any other number as an ending 01 through 04, you could see it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But 05s are only ever going to see an update on a Friday, which means your Where's My Refund will only ever update on a Wednesday. Ms. Pamela, back in the chat. 570 for 3 weeks now. I am hoping you see an update as well. Lily wants to know what time transcripts will update. Multiple update time questions. Transcripts will begin updating. I mean, they can update as early as 12 a.m. Probably not many will. Most start updating around 3 a.m. There's a flood of updates between 3 and 7 a.m. And there's a little trickle throughout the morning after that. So if you wake up, well, I mean, if you're willing to stay up until 3 a.m. and wait, then more power to you. But if you wake up in the morning at like 6, oh, I should also specify 3 a.m. Eastern time, which would be midnight Pacific. But at 3 a.m. Eastern time, they start updating. I gotta remember, I got people all over on both coasts and in between. 3 a.m. Eastern time is the biggest flow of updates over the next 3 hours from then throughout the rest of the morning. So if you wake up early in the morning and it's not updated yet, don't panic. Wait a couple hours, check again. You should be clicking on the Southern Taste. You should be clicking on the 2021 year. It's the 2021 tax year. That's what you're looking for. So that would be the date you'd be clicking on. No ID. We have definitely been talking about the gas prices today. I went on my little rant earlier and got in trouble with Caitlin, so I got off my soapbox about that. Alan, when are they going to update the app? They're going to update on... the app should update on Saturday. That'll be the next app update. It's the same time the Where's My Refund updates. Also, if you use the phone app, for people that use the the IRS to Go app or whatever on the phone, it always posts a date 5 days later than your actual deposit date. So say you have access to your transcripts and you see... so you want to wake up tomorrow and you checked your transcript and it said 846 refund issued 3/16/22. That's the Wednesday deposit date. That's the day you will actually get your deposit. On Saturday, when the app updated, you may check it and it would say, you'd have the 2 bars and it would say your refund will be deposited by 3/21/22, which is 5 days after what you see in your transcript. The transcript date is the correct date. The date that the app gives you is a 5-day window that they're giving themselves for bank processing. Banks almost never hold it for that long, so you would have it by that 3/16 date. And if you didn't have it by that 3/16 date, something is wrong. Mark, thank you for the tax information. You are welcome. Very welcome. Alejandra got a CPO 5 letter. How long until you get an update? It depends on the information they need to verify. If they didn't request anything from you, that could be a good sign. Could mean it wouldn't be as long as some of the other letters. But they would be verifying. I'm not sure what they would be verifying for you because I don't know your exact tax situation, so I can't say exactly how long it would take. If they were verifying income from like an employer, just know that the employers have until April 15th. If they're verifying credits you claimed, they could be verifying through like Social Security for dependents and stuff like that. But generally, if they don't ask you for information, it could take a little bit less time. So hopefully within the next couple weeks, you'd see a letter. I mean, you'd see an update. And if they would need information from you, that could take longer. They would send you another letter saying, we need this, this, and this. Unfortunately, everyone's situation is different, so I can't like give an exact time frame on those. Other than to say it's not great when you get those, obviously, because you've been waiting, I'm sure. Mrs. Marie. I answered this question for you earlier. Maybe you missed it on the stream. But as long as the total number was correct, that's all that matters. The line on the form wants the total number. So as long as the total number combined for you two is correct, that is all that matters. A wants to know, what does the as of date mean? Absolutely nothing, basically. I mean, it's just a date that the system sets for itself, essentially. It means very little as far... It tells you very little information. There's nothing that you can garner from the as of date. In almost every case, you'll notice the as of date is, like, far ahead. You know, a couple weeks, at least, in most cases. Yeah, so Alejandro says they didn't ask for anything, so hopefully where they're verifying your information through, the entities that they're asking for, whether it be like Social Security or employer, hopefully they get all that information quickly and that gets resolved, you know, sooner rather than later. Smokey Sinatra, still NA. Hope I see an update. I hope you see an update tomorrow morning. Dope Boy wants to know what does as of March 21 or April 15, whichever comes later. Absolutely nothing. The as of date is like an internal date that the system sets for itself. Like I said, there's not much information you can garner from it. Obviously, the April 15th date is the end of the tax season. Did I do it? Am I caught up on comments right now? My partner in crime over here is a little behind, so I'm self-reliant.
So Alan, what is the last person? No, Dope Boy, isn't it?
Okay. Well, so, I'm current as of like 3 minutes ago, I guess, because I have to wait for these comments to come in. Okay. Alan, what day should I be expecting my refund? If you got an update this week, if you were to get an update this weekend, you would be expecting it on Wednesday, if you get the update. If not, it's a waiting game, because I don't know your situation. But if you were to get an update this week, you would see a refund date for Wednesday, the 16th of March. Dope Boy has a 971 but have not received anything from the IRS. Yes. There's many times you won't receive anything from them. There is no rhyme or reason to why the system. You have to, like, what I can tell you about the 971 letters are they're automatically generated by the system, and then you almost always notice when that 971 hits your transcript, it's for a date much further from the current date, and that's because it's basically the system saying, if this isn't resolved by this date, send the letter. Basically, is what it means essentially. So there are many cases where you'll never even receive that letter or know what the letter was for because you never got it and everything was resolved before it. Slitspeed has been waiting for over 21 days. No progress. Filed on January 24th. So the 846 would be one of your either credits or stimulus from last year. The 150 means your tax return is in the system. The 766 would be the child tax credit, or it could be the stimulus. The 290 is the reset for the year. That's when they zeroed out your account to start for the new tax information that's going to be coming. And the 971 is probably dated for 2021, I'm guessing, since there's no other codes. So hopefully tomorrow you're part of this update and you'll see something for this year. Hopefully that something is an 846 and not a freeze code. Travis, where's my refund switch for me? They received my return and it is being processed. Should I put up the slides again, guys? And ladies and gentlemen? I'll put the slides up. I'll put the slides up for that. Just to remind you guys about the process of where's my refund. This is why I get frustrated with where's my refund, because the IRS needs to improve this system. I think you guys can all agree with me about this. They need to improve this system. But everything on where's my refund is pretty much like an automatically generated message. So you see the tax topic 152. Just know that if you have tax topic 152, all that means is that you have applied for a refund on your 1040 form, which is your tax return. That's automatically there for everyone that applies for a refund. So you get your refund, it gets accepted, automatically, 1 bar, your return is being processed. At some point, when your return's been in the system for a certain amount of time, those bars will go away. You'll get the message that your return is being processed with no bars. Typically happens on the 8th day. This is automatically programmed into the system when a return is unprocessed. Then, after so long of it staying unprocessed, the still processing message occurs. Then, after so long of it still being unprocessed, you'd eventually get the delay message and so forth. So those are all automatically generated messages that will occur within the Where's My Refund system. Unfortunately, this is why I say it's an unreliable way of checking how long it could take to get your refund. The most reliable way is by checking your transcripts. And even in some cases, the transcripts can't always tell you, but I mean, you always know for sure when you see that 846, and that updates before Where's My Refund does. Andrew, can't get in touch with anyone from the IRS. What are you called? All right, Andrew, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Give me a second. I'm going to pull up a number here. Give me a second, everybody. This can help out a lot of people. I'm just going to pull up a... Okay, so what I'm going to suggest for anyone that's been having a hard time getting through the IRS is that you call a different department. Now, bear with me. You're going to have to wait. You always have to wait with the IRS. The best thing you can do is call the IRS hotline and put through a extension for a different department. Then they can look at your account when you finally get through them. Usually the wait time will be a little bit less than it would be with the normal representatives. Then they can direct you. They're not going to be able to help you with exactly what you want, but they can open up your account and then they'll say, well, this isn't my department, but I can transfer you to the department that can help. And then they can direct you and forward your call to the department that can help, and you get kind of pushed to the front of the line. Little secret I learned a couple weeks ago. So, the number you're going to want to call how can I do this here? Is there a way for me to put this on the screen? Bear with me, everybody. I'm going to create a new ticker. Oh no, what did I just do? I just deleted it. Oh no! Just bear with me, everybody. I'm so sorry. Alright. Yeah, it was almost done. Alright. 2. Oh, there we go. Alright. So, that works. So here's a number you can call with an extension. And so this line opens up at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, and it closes at 7 p.m. You can call this line, call the line, call the extension. This goes to the account department, I think. You'll probably have to wait I think my last wait time was like a half hour, so which is better than like the hour plus 2 hours I had to wait calling the other extensions. And then they can at least pull up your account, and then they can't help you because it's not their department. But they can transfer you to someone that can help you in a more timely manner than you would normally go. That's my advice. Hopefully it works. It worked for me a couple weeks ago. And back to the comments. Jonathan wants to know if they found unreported income. Would I have already gotten a letter? I just verified my identity 2 weeks ago, and I have been updating you every week. Would you have gotten a letter if they found unreported income? Well, you could. It depends on how much was unreported. Because at a certain amount, they'll just automatically adjust it. But yeah, if they go to income match and it doesn't match, you should get a letter. But sometimes, as I said earlier in the letters, they date those out for a couple weeks, so you wouldn't get it. Those type of letters you don't usually get until well after the fact, meaning you have to wait longer. So your best bet is you hope that they process your return as is, and then catch the unreported income after you've already received your refund, and then you just do amended return. That's the best case scenario. Travis says thank you, and to tell my wife that he says thank you for all the help that she does to help me. Dope Boy Code 150 means your return has hit the system for processing. That's what that means. I made a video for that too. I started making videos this year, like at a shorter clip to help people just find what they needed right away. And I made, so I focused on the first couple, what am I doing here? I focused on the first couple codes that you would see on the transcript. I'm going to pull it up for you here on my videos. So if you were to go to the DS Entertainment YouTube channel and look at my videos tab, and you can go down to this tax transcript code 150 explained video. That would explain the 150 codes. You could also see the code 806, which is your withholding. I also talk about the deductions versus credits. So there's a few things you might find useful there. I stopped. I was gonna make all those code videos, and then I kind of got overwhelmed when I started doing live streams because people seem to be responding pretty well to the live streams and finding those useful. So I kind of find it easier a lot to talk to people directly and answer their questions. But I am in the process of kind of putting together like my pièce de résistance. I don't even know if I said that right. for tax videos where I just talk about everything A to Z. Danny updated to 970-570 last Friday. Received the letter about the child stimulus again. Everything was correct, but the refund amount showed was much less, and the 570 code was made March 23rd. The March 23rd date is just the deadline date that the system has set for them to resolve that issue. So whatever the hold is for, the system has set a deadline of March 23rd, but you can't go by those deadline dates because they can often be resolved well before, but they can also go over the amounts as well. Mrs. Marie also thanked Caitlin. She just realized she never thanked you yet. She realized that 10 minutes ago because that's how far behind I am in comments right now. No ID's going to bed. Good night. Hopefully you get that update in the morning. Jim Bailey. TurboTax uses Credit Karma. Third-party banks say Credit Karma states refunds will be issued up to 5 days earlier. They will not. They won't issue it early, especially if you use the refund advance. You may see it a couple days early if you could potentially see it a couple days early if you didn't do the refund advance. If you did the refund advance, you won't see it till the day of. Just facts. Just the way they've handled it this year. And Lily, what are the freeze codes to be aware of? 570, that's the refund freeze. These are all generic codes too. The one that's really troublesome is the 420. That is the audit code. That's the one you do not want to see. You do not want to see a 420 by any means. That is the one that takes the longest to resolve. That is the one that can be the biggest headache. And if you've been waiting, you already know it's a headache. But imagine that headache you're feeling now times 3,425,000. Split speed. Might as well call up the IRS and deal with the issues on where's my refund got reduced on where's my refund. Yeah, you should definitely get on that. What the heck is going on there? Dynamite Head. So what if it's still saying processing? Yeah, there's not much you can do. It doesn't tell you, like I said, I went on my binge about the Where's My Refund being unreliable. Not much you can tell you other than it's like those messages are automatic. You know, they're generic. They occur after your return has been in the system for a certain amount of time without being processed. You'll get those processing messages and the bars will go away. And all it tells you is what you basically already know, that you've been waiting. At a certain point, it's a lot easier if you have access to your transcripts, so you can see the codes and see if there's a freeze code on your refund. But at a certain point, if you don't have access to that, then you want to try to get through to the IRS and contact them so that you can see what the heck's going on with that. Find out what the holdup is. Because maybe there's something you can do, like verify your identity. No ID. What's the unreported income threshold they'll adjust? It's not much. I mean, maybe like a few $100s. Less than 1,000. We'll put it at less than 1,000. Dope boy. Shout out to Cap. My kids got that for me. They know Cap's my favorite Marvel superhero. I also have my coveted Dundee. Oh my god. I have so many people to thank for this award. That was courtesy of the lovely Caitlin, my wife. Jim Coleman, the live streams are great and very informative. Thank you. Thank you, and you're welcome. Danny. Waiting game. Honestly, my friend, waiting game. And the update, you could possibly update overnight. It's always possible. It depends on what was done on your return this week. Andy, you can select any reason. So Andy wants to know when you're selecting a reason for the transcripts. I went through this earlier, and I showed that you can select pretty much any reason. I usually just say like federal tax or income verification. You can select any reason you want, and you do not need a file number. Should I do another tutorial on that for everybody? Anyone curious about that? I can do it. I can do it. I can pull it up. I just won't go into my actual transcript. I did it earlier on the stream, but we got some new people here. I'll do it for you guys if you want me to. I'm going to share my screen. So you're in the transcript site. We can take away this phone number. We don't need this phone number blocking. And while I'm in here, I might as well change some music, right guys? You guys are probably sick of the music. I took my earbuds out, so I haven't heard it. You guys are getting feeding the ducks. I don't even know what it sounds like. I don't remember. Okay. Let me go back here. So here we are. We're on the transcript site. I'm going to sign in with a username. Oop, my session expired due to inactivity. I'm going to remove this while I put my in. So I'm using my IRS username. For those of you that don't know how to do this. But if you can also set up a ID.me account. Just take your time when you do that to verify your identity. You don't want to get locked out of the system. Then it will send you a digit code, a 6-digit code to your cell phone to verify that it's really you. You'll type that in and verify it. And then you'll get to this page. Select a reason you want a transcript. I always select either federal tax or income verification. You could say housing assistance, adjusted gross income. You can literally select whatever you want. I'm just going to select federal tax. You do not need a customer file number. And then you'll get into these 4 boxes: return transcript, record of account, wage and income. You want that account transcript, and you're looking for the 2021 tax year. That's the one we're looking for. 2021 tax year. Mark Chapel, good night and thank you. Good night and you're welcome. I have a question. Do the people that work for the IRS have to wait like us? Yes, they do. I guarantee they do. Everyone does. I mean, yep. There are 160 plus million, there's 160 million tax returns every year, or 120 million tax returns every year. Yes, they have to wait. They all have to wait. Doughboy wants to know how long code 570 stays that way. It depends. It depends on what the code is for. Why the hold is there. Some codes don't take as long for them to resolve. Others take a little bit longer. So it's all dependent on the reason your refund's being frozen, honestly. So, not knowing your exact tax situation, I can't tell you an exact timeline. I can just tell you that, like I said, I can put my slides up that show you the reasons for holds and then can explain the ones that take longer to resolve. So our reasons for holds: itemized deductions, new dependents being claimed, recovery rebate, which is your missed stimulus. Doesn't match what's on file. Same thing with the child tax credits if that doesn't match what's on file. The look back credit can be placed on hold if it exceeds the income threshold for earned income credit. Maybe there's missing income from W-2s, 1099s, identity verification, offsets on file. All those are reasons. LaFlax, does it mean something if it says still processing tax topic 152 but the amount disappeared? Nope, other than a certain amount of time has passed. Sometimes the amount disappears if it is under review and they're looking at something that's related to a credit you claimed and they're going to have to adjust your amount. It could disappear, but sometimes it just comes back and it's the full amount. So don't read too much into it, because it's different for different people, because it's a generic thing that happens. Like I said, those messages are generic messages that appear automatically in the system after your return has been in the system for a certain amount of time. Alexis, you say they reduced your refund. I would be curious to know how you know they reduced your refund. Is there a code below the 570 that says your refund was diverted or reduced for some reason? Andrew, 1040 is your form. 1040 is the form that you file your tax return on. Mrs. Marie, the unreported income is $1,400 and change. Mrs. Marie, you've had the super trifecta this year of tax delays. I'll tell you. I feel bad. I feel bad. You have one of those situations where, like, you almost wish you had a time machine so you could go back and tell yourself to wait just a second. Wait just a second before you press that transmit button. Tarsha. Well, first off, Oscar is saying some people are reading codes from 2021. Yes, I've gathered that from talking to some people. Guys, want to make sure the dates that you're looking at are 2022 dates. But let's go to Tarsha. Has a 290 code on the 2020 transcript. Looking at 2020 or 2021. 290 would be the code that they reset your account balance with after the stimulus and child tax payments. I'm guessing on the 2022 cycle code, you're looking at the 2021 transcript. So, where's my refund says still being processed? Should you worry? You're probably just stuck in the backlog. If you don't see, as long as you see no freeze codes, 570, 420, things like that, no real reason to worry. You're just in that backlog, and hopefully they can get your return processed within the next week or two. You know, check your return, check your transcript in the morning. See if it updated with any new codes. Alexis, it says you shows how much was credited to your account, but doesn't add up to what your tax preparer told you. Well, the amount should appear in the top left corner where it says account balance, and that's the refund amount. That's actually the refund amount. What you could do is you can compare what the tax preparer had on file for your child tax credit and see if what they have on your transcript for 766, that's a child tax credit, if that matches up with what the preparer has on your form. And then if if you have earned income credit, that's 768, if that matches up. And then if the withholding, which is the line 806, that's 806. If that matches up with the withholding on your form, you can match all those numbers up against what your actual tax return says. Or you can just look up at the top left corner. There should be an account balance. It would be a negative balance. That's the refund amount. It's negative because they haven't paid it to you yet, so it gives you a negative account balance. And that would be the refund amount. The expected refund amount. Mitchell, return due date or return receive date. Whichever is later has two dates. What does that mean? It doesn't mean really anything. Those are post-dated dates that the system sets for itself. One is for the close of the tax cycle. The other is like their initial deadline that they hope to have the return processed by, but it doesn't guarantee anything. Those dates that they can change. Mrs. Marie, the 10-week time frame that the IRS keeps mentioning for people would be from the time of February 15th when PATH lifted. That's what they're hoping people assume. Well, Mrs. Marie, we know, like, lessons learned, right? Lessons learned. My best advice for people, like before you start the tax season, is always make sure you have your ducks in a row. so you don't wind up in a position where you're in a lengthy hold because maybe you forgot something, or even type something wrong. Sometimes you might not have forgotten anything, but you just type something wrong and that just flags it in the system because it doesn't quite match. Sometimes the slightest things on a tax return can get your return flagged and set you back and delayed for weeks with the IRS. So it's super important to always take your time when you're filing your taxes, especially if you do it through like a software company, and don't go to a tax preparer. But also, if you go to a tax preparer, make sure you're giving them all the information you have. Make sure that you've waited for all the forms you're supposed to get. Malcolm, I have a 971570, both on the March 21, 22 date. My return was reduced by the 1400. My cycle date is 2022-0905. Yeah, I mean, you could see an update tonight if they already reduced your return. Looks like they probably took away a stimulus. That's probably my guess. So yeah, you could see an update. You could. This week or next week, maybe, if they already reduced it. If it was reduced in time to have it this week, like say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then you would see the update. This week, if they reduced it later, it would be the following week. Jim Bailey, does it matter what order the 971-570 codes come in? It does not matter. It does not matter. It just happens to be whenever the notice was generated versus when the freeze was generated. But it doesn't matter what order they're in. Unless the 971 is like dated for a 2021 because they sent out notices in 2021 about the stimulus and child tax payments. So Andy, if the account balance is different than the number you were expecting, what happens? It's probably going to end up being the number that's in your account balance. So, I don't know what that amount is for you, but that's the amount based on their numbers that they have that they're going to owe you, and that would be the number they would pay you. And hopefully that number is a negative number, because if it's a positive number, that's them saying you owe them that much money. So hopefully it's a negative number. Always remember on the transcripts, negative numbers mean they owe you. Positive numbers mean you owe them. Yvette wants to know if the transcript doesn't change tomorrow, would the 21 days be up for the tax advocate to be involved? It would have to be 30 days for a tax advocate, at least 30 days. So sometime next week, probably. Call it 30 days from the 15th. So March 15th. No, you just want to check the account transcript. Account transcript. So account transcript, not record of account. I mean, record of account has similar information, but it does not have all the information you need, or the exact information we're looking for. It's got a lot of information that doesn't apply to what we're talking about on some of this stuff. So you just want to go for the account transcript. All right, everybody. We have been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And Caitlin is looking at me very exhaustedly, like she's ready for bed. It's 11:45 here. I've had a long day. I worked all day. And I came here right after work and set up my live stream. So I am going to hit the hay. I think I'll do another live stream tomorrow. so we can celebrate people getting their 846 codes, because we're going to be positive. We're going to be positive. We're going to be positive, and we're going to assume that a lot of people are going to see those 846 codes tomorrow. And then, so tomorrow night we'll have the Where's My Refund party and talk about the 2 bars appearing on Saturday with the Wednesday date. Okay, so good luck, everybody. I hope tonight you get an update. You wake up tomorrow, you see that transcript update, and you can be a part of the celebration tomorrow. Hope I helped everyone with some of their questions. And maybe we'll show some of the DJ Dana Scott music in our background tomorrow. All right, have a good night, everybody.